That's better. Yeah. See? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Then they can call me a bad bitch, bad and bougie. Oh my gosh. I look at those girls on Instagram. Look at that. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, yeah. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am the lovely London girl, and today's video is on the topic of why are people so thirsty? And when I say thirsty, I mean they're hungry or desperate or starving for attention, or no, mainly it's attention, okay? And this could be attention, and it's mainly on social media, I have to say. So social media includes Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, just any kind of form of social platform. And I'm going to be talking about the issues of being thirsty, why people might be thirsty, and ways to combat thirstiness. According to the Urban Dictionary, thirsty means the need to gain fame and admiration through social media such as Instagram and the like by posting selfie pictures to boost the self-esteem. There are 3 degrees of culpability when it comes to the thirstiness of an individual. A. Purposely, i.e. the person takes pictures of themselves in gym mirrors, bathroom mirrors, or any mirror possible. B. Knowingly, i.e. the person knowing that they are in the photo of another person poses in the hopes of gaining some likes. And C. Recklessly, goes around acting like people care about them with a substantial disregard to the fact that no one actually cares. That's pretty interesting. That's really funny. So the first issue with being thirsty is that it stems from a lack of self-esteem, from insecurity, and from a lack of sense of worth. Now, when you're thirsty, you are appealing, or you're hoping to appeal to the masses, or to appeal to a group of people on your social media platform or around you to kind of boost you up, bolster up your self-esteem and your confidence, whether that be through followers, new likes, reblogs or retweets, depending if you're on Tumblr or Twitter. When you get that kind of acknowledgement from other people, then that bolsters your self-esteem up, and that's an issue because your self-esteem shouldn't be lying in the hands or the fingers or the thumbs of other people, nor should it be even found on social media platforms. Your self-esteem should come from within, and it should come from a sound sense of self and an understanding of who you are, what you're called to do, what you're on earth to do, and where you're going in life. Your self-esteem cannot and should not be linked to other people, their thumbs, whether they like your picture or not, whether they follow you back or not. And I know in this day and age, it's like social media, the amount of followers you have is everything. Like if you're doing something, let's say you're a fashion designer and you meet people and you say, oh, I'm a fashion designer, and they're like, oh, can I have your Instagram? And you give them your Instagram handle and you have like 10 followers, they're gonna think you're whack. I understand the power of numbers and the power of people recognizing you, i.e. a lot of followers, they like your stuff, you interact with people, it shows that you're doing something right. But should you not have those numbers, and should you not have those likes and those followers, that shouldn't determine how much you think of yourself. That should not determine how well you carry yourself, on what you think of yourself. It should not determine your level of self-esteem. Now, even here on YouTube, you have some YouTubers who have this inflated sense of self. Now, of course, you should have a sense of pride when you've achieved something big, i.e. gained a lot of subscribers, you know, you've made really good content and people have subscribed to you, people interact with you, they engage with you because, you know, you are, quite frankly, a good YouTuber. That's amazing. No one can ever and should ever take that away from you. But when you let those numbers and that recognition get to your head and you start calling your subscribers fans and like you talk to them in a very rude manner, I've seen this, or you know, you just say really rude things, you demand certain things from your subscribers, or you expect certain things from your subscribers, that's a sign that you've allowed the social media fame or social media success to get to your head. And you have to be careful. You have to be careful to not let the social media success get to your head to make you feel as though that's the thing that gives you worth. Because should YouTube ever close down, ever, then where does your worth lie? It's gone. YouTube is a URL. It's on the internet. It can disappear like that. And so if it does disappear like that, does your self-esteem go with it? So you have to be careful not to cross that line and not to let things get into you and get into your core. The same way also, when you don't have that and you have a lack of subscribers, a lack of followers, a lack of engagement on your videos or whatever it might be, you have to know that that does not equate to your value. That does not determine how valuable you are on YouTube or whatever space it is. Yes, sometimes good quality equates large numbers, or good pictures equates large numbers, or dressing very provocatively does influence big numbers. We know that, we've seen it. We see it every single day on YouTube, every single day on Instagram, every single day on Tumblr. People who show boob or bum or ass or chest or six-pack or dick print or eggplant, they get a lot of subscribers, they get a lot of followers, they get a lot of recognition. We know that that works, but that doesn't mean that you should lose your sense of self to try and get that. And if you don't have that, that's not the end of the world, and that doesn't determine that you have a low value. Remember, your value isn't embedded in these platforms, in these websites, or in the thumbs and fingers of other people. Your value is in yourself and in who you are. And it's a pretty similar kind of argument when it comes to sex and women. A lot of people, society still thinks that if a woman is sexually active or she owns her sexuality, then she's less valuable than a woman who is a virgin. And I believe your value doesn't stem purely from your virginity or purely from your lack of virginity. It stems from what you actually bring to the table. So your value is your value. Your value is what you bring. So what do you bring to the table? Ask yourself that. If you bring kindness, you bring laughter, you bring humor, you bring being able to look after a house properly, or being able to drive a car well, or I don't know, being able to run a business, being able to braid hair, being able to coach a team, that is your value, and that's where you build up your sense of self. You don't build up your sense of self in the things that you do necessarily, or the things you've done, or the things you have, or the things people tell you. Your sense of self has to come from something deeper than that. And personally, sense of self for me should come from God first, and then you take what the Bible says about that, and then you work it into life, and you find things out about yourself, and then you tell people who you are. You don't let people tell you who you are. So the second issue, I've kind of touched on that with the first one, but that was if you're thirsty, you're placing value in the thumbs of other people, in the hands of other people, and that's dangerous, because as soon as that person thinks you're not valuable anymore and they chuck you, you go with that. You fall to the ground, and it's like your value is lost, it's done. And it's similar to society when they tell women, oh, women should be slim. Actually, but you can't be too skinny, you should be quite curvy, but you can't be too fat. You should be curvy only in the right bits. And if you are curvy, you can't have cellulite, you can't have stretch marks. Your skin has to be smooth. You can be brown, but not too brown, not too dark. Just brown enough, Your hair should be curly, but not too curly. If it's too kinky, then it's a bit too much, Your lips should be big, but not on dark skin, or all of these things. Or you should be able to know how to do these sexual acts, but then if you know how to do these sexual acts, then you're a hoe. All of these contradicting messages that a lot of young girls face when they're growing up, and a lot of women still face when they're fully grown and living life in society, it's confusing. But if you allow yourself to place your value in society or in the hands of other people, it's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. You're not going to know who you are. You're not going to know where you stand, because society seeks to benefit from your insecurity. And if you allow them to control you, my sister's home. And if you allow them to control you, then they control your life, and it's not healthy. You need to have a core sense of self that's moving forward like this, and whatever society is telling you is just happening around you, but you're still moving forward. You're still going, you're still going, you're still going, you're still moving. Yeah, so maybe if I just pose like this and stick my bum out and make sure my stomach's showing, then maybe I'll get more likes, maybe if I show a bit of, actually, let me just suck it in and stick it out. Maybe, yeah, see, that's better, yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, then they can call me a bad bitch, bad and bougie. Oh my gosh, I look at those girls on Instagram, look at that. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Oh my gosh, yeah. I know the temptation. I know. I've been on Instagram for a while. I've posted pictures on there. There's one picture of me where I'm wearing a bralette top with a fur jacket, and you can see my stomach and my chest. Not too much cleavage, but you can see it. And that got the most likes out of all of my pictures in a very long time. And it just goes to show that when you do expose yourself, you know, you do get that kind of recognition. But that's another issue. Exposure. You expose yourself to hate, you expose yourself to likes, but then you expose yourself to people who need not see what you have. Now, this is not, you know, respectability politics, or a woman should do this, woman should do that. But when you do that, when you're thirsty, you expose yourself. And sometimes not everything should be seen on social media. Not everything should be exposed to certain people, especially if you've got your social media platform on public, then everyone can see it. I just think there should be less exposure, less kind of direct accessibility to people. I feel like in this day and age, we lack that privacy and that personal life that people would have had before mainstream internet took place, you know. And it's not a bad thing. People tend to look at traditional things as a bad thing just because it's old. Not everything old is bad, not everything old is good, but the good things we should take along with us instead of abandoning everything else. And I think gaining a sense of privacy back is one key thing which is important. I think people should try and strive to do that. I'm not saying your social media pages should be private. I'm just saying that certain things about you and your life should be private. We don't always need to know like what you're doing every single minute, every single second. If you want to do that, of course you can, but I'm saying when you do that, you put so much information out there on the internet and you can't take it back once it's on the internet. And plus there are people who can hack onto social media things and like steal your information, steal your address. People post pictures in front of their houses. People can steal your address, people can steal your information and your credit card details. There are a lot of imposters out there who take details from your pictures and put them together and steal your identity or steal your money. It happens. It's really, really real. And so when you're doing that, you expose yourself to a lot of dangers. You do also expose yourself to a lot of love and a lot of likes and a lot of recognition, potentially, but you have to weigh it up. You have to decide which one is more important, your safety and your privacy and your more of a peace of mind over more likes and more recognition and potentially exposure to hate and to cyber attacks. And I know it's a bit out there, like my point is a bit out there, but it's true. It happens to a lot of people. They put stuff on social media and it's a target. People can see that, they read it, and they think they know you and they know your life, and they can kind of tailor the way they approach you. And when they do that, they can kind of manipulate you and all these other things. I know it's really deep and really out there and it's like not all that serious, but it happens to people, and so it's just something to be aware of. So another issue with being thirsty is that you do not focus on yourself and your journey. Now, a part of being thirsty is comparing yourself a little bit to other people. And when I say that, I mean like hashtag goals, and you know, I think hashtag goals, it started off with good intentions, but it's almost like people are fiending for other people's lives as opposed to going out there and making one for themselves. It's kind of like hashtag goals, and it's like, don't hashtag goals it, go out and get it, do you know what I mean? And it's like there's an element of comparison there, and like I said in my previous video, comparison is the thief of all joy. I got it right this time. Comparison is the thief of all joy. Now when you're on social media, it's so tempting not to compare yourself to other people. I've done it, I do it all the time. It's a work in progress, but as long as you're aware of that, you can kind of fix that in your subconscious day by day by day. But if you're not aware of that and you're continuing to do that, you're strengthening that bad habit of comparing yourself to other people, and then you end up being depressed or sad, and you're wondering, why am I so sad? It's because I'm on social media a lot and I'm always comparing myself to other people, you know. So when you cut back down on the social media, you realize that you will be a bit more fulfilled and you will be a bit more content and you will be happy. I think it's been proven in studies. I don't know the studies, but I think I'll link them down below for you, that those who use social media a lot actually are more depressed than those who don't. And also, you know, the whole rhetoric that we are more connected now than ever, but we're the most lonely generation. And I think that's quite telling. When you are thirsty on social media, or you're thirsty in general, you don't focus on you and your journey and where you're going. And I think that's the most important thing. If you're watching this and you're a teenager, or you're approaching your 20s, or even if you're not, I think it's important to always know where you're going in life and what your purpose is, because if you know what that is, and you know what you are and are not willing to do, you know what you are and are not prepared to do, and that just cuts out a lot of BS from your life, to be honest. When you know where you're going, you know where you're not going. For example, it's Monday and I know I need to get to Oxford Circus to go to Zara to buy a pair of shoes. You know you're going to Zara, Oxford Circus to get a pair of shoes. Now you get a call from your mate, and your mate's like, oi, do you want to go to Brighton with me so we can go and buy some sand from the beach, from Brighton Beach? And you're like, I know where I'm going. It's Monday, I'm going to Oxford Circus, to Zara, to buy a pair of shoes. This person has just called me to go to Brighton Beach to buy beach sand. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound in line with my purpose and where I'm going. Therefore, I'm gonna decline. Now, if you don't know where you're going and you start your Monday like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just gonna like go with the flow. When that person calls you up, you're gonna be like, sure, let's go. And then on that journey, you could encounter a lot of difficulties, a lot of struggles. It could be a waste of time. The train might be broken down. You get stuck in Brighton. You can't come back to London, you know, just theoretically speaking. But I'm speaking figuratively to show you that when you take a detour from your planned path or from your purpose, it can cause a lot more stress, a lot more heartache, a lot more time wasting than you prepared for, than you would care for. And so it's important for you to know where you're going. And when you're thirsty, it inhibits you from knowing where you're going, because you're not focusing on yourself and trying to find out you and your purpose. You're rather comparing yourself to other people, whether it's knowingly or subconsciously. And I'm not saying this to condemn anyone, because we all go through it and we all do it. Some more than others, but that's not the point. The point is just to bring awareness to it, to talk about it, and to hopefully give you guys some advice and some guidance, and just to talk about the topic, and hopefully this would have helped you. So the first way you can stop being thirsty is to know thyself, and I've pretty much kind of already covered it in what I've said previously. But if you know yourself, then you know that your value isn't resting in the hands of other people. It's not resting on social media. It's not resting on how many views you get, how many subscribers you have, or how many likes or followers you have. In this day and age, it's so difficult to get to know yourself, because there are so many bombarding messages on what you should be. You know, should you be the hoe? Should you not be the hoe? Should you be the power hungry person? Or should you be the feminist who doesn't respect men? Or should you be this person or this person? There are so many factions and groups where it's like, what if I'm all of these things in one? Can I not be all of these things in one? And I see this a lot on Tumblr, because I have quite a pretty active Tumblr account. And it's like, while you hoes were dancing and twerking in the clubs, I was getting my degree. And then people will come back and say, can't I get a degree and twerk at the same time? Do you know what I mean? It's like there's this constant conflict between the right person to be and the wrong person to be, and how you can't be both, and all these things. And I think you should just take a breather, sit down, and really just have a conversation with yourself and get to know yourself. And ways you can get to know yourself is through reading, it's through talking to other people, to really understand their points of views and to kind of develop your arguments, because it's only when you really test out your views by talking to other people that you know whether you actually stand behind your views or not, or whether it's not very well founded, or whether it's just an opinion you picked up from somewhere. When you actually talk to other people, you realize that perhaps they're right, or perhaps I can see things in a slightly different way if I just, you know, thought about this. And also traveling. I think traveling is a big way for you to learn about yourself, and travel alone, but obviously be safe if you do. But I think traveling as well is a really great way for you to learn more about yourself. I would say look at what you're good at and start there. So if you're good at writing, if you're good at kind of speaking in public, good at singing, or good at comforting people, good at helping people, then kind of look at those skills and characteristics and start there. And then from there you kind of move forward in kind of finding out your purpose and stuff and who you are. If you're a Christian or you have a religion, then of course you speak to God, and your kind of religious text or the text of your faith will kind of point you in the right direction. And this is the last point I'm going to make. Another way for you to stop being thirsty is to never, ever, ever worship another human being. And I say this to say that you can admire them. Yes, you can say that person, that Donnie right there is a don, or that lady right there is immaculate, or you know, she's amazing. She did that. You know, she's a boss. She did that thing. She slayed that. She smashed that. Everything like that, amazing. But never escalate that admiration to worship, because that's very, very dangerous, especially in Christianity. But aside from that, taking that aside, just putting someone on a pedestal where you think they're more worthy than you, I think that transcends the line of self-respect a bit, and kind of self-love and self-awareness, because I don't think it's healthy ever to put any kind of human being on a pedestal where it's like, you know, they're like to be worshipped or they're to like be praised. I think that's insane. Personally speaking, I think that's insane. I think that's crazy. I think you should have a strong sense of self and awareness that you can appreciate someone. You don't have to hate on them. Don't be a hater. Recognize the gifts in people, recognize the talents in people, recognize that they did that, you know, they slayed that, whatever it might be. Recognize that. Respect people, respect your elders, respect people in positions of authority, respect people who have authority over you or who are older than you. Definitely do that, but not to the point where you set aside your own self-dignity and your own self-awareness and your own identity for the other person. It's not healthy. Every man was made equal. There's no one more important or more special than another in terms of the human race. We're all created humans, we're all created equal. No, we might not be all treated equally, but we all are equal. And that's my point of view. And I don't think it's healthy to worship somebody just because they're good at something, or just because they look good, or just because they're beautiful, just because they're handsome. I think you can admire, definitely admire, but when it starts to cross into worship and idolizing people, I think that's dangerous. And even this whole, oh, I love this person, they're my idol, I think that whole phrase is just off. I would never, ever, ever say that about anybody in my whole entire life. And I thank God for that, because I might not be the most confident, no, and I might not have had self-esteem, high self-esteem my whole life, no, but I've still had this sense of self with me throughout my whole life, and I know that I just can't bring myself to worship another human being. A human being that poos and farts and wheezes just like me, I'm gonna worship you. For what? For why? Why? Not happening, mate. So yeah, I would say another way to stop being thirsty is to cut away that worshipping of another human being. Once you start to see other human beings, no matter how accoladed, no matter how many accolades they have, no matter how beautiful or handsome or talented they are, when you start to see them as a fellow human being, you cut down that comparison, you cut down that, oh, I'm not good enough. You cut that all down and you realize that actually, if they can do it, I can too. And there's no need for me to put them on a higher pedestal to worship them. So guys, this is the end of the video. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've learned something. I talk really fast when I'm passionate about something, so excuse that. But no, honestly, I do hope that you have learned something. Of course, this video isn't the only rule, and so definitely do your research, watch more YouTube videos about this and read more studies or whatever it might be. But I really hope I've imparted some kind of knowledge and some wisdom, maybe, and I hope I've given you some tips that you maybe can go back and implement or go back and think about for your lives. I just wanted to let you know that don't let anyone tell you that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that you're silly, or that you're stupid, or that you never go anywhere. You will go somewhere. You have everything that you need to be the best that you can be inside of you. You just have to believe, and you just have to find it, and you just have to be patient and work on it. You are worthy, you are beautiful, you are handsome, you are stunning, you are gorgeous, you are smart, you are talented, you are worthy. So be free and love yourself, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye! Mwah.